everyone. Welcome. Good evening. My name is Chandrea Williams, and I'm an assistant professor with the Center for Academic and Bar Readiness. And we would like to welcome you today to our swearing-in ceremony. We will follow the program as stated, but I would like to first introduce our Dean, Gilbert Holmes, who's going to give our welcoming remarks, as well as Dr. Jonathan Reed, who is our interim provost. Please hear them as they come.
Thank you, Chandrea, and good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay, even though I wasn't raised in a Baptist church, I understand the Baptist tradition. So I like this call and response, and participation, and the like. So I want you to know right off the bat that at the time after the swearing in is done, if you want to yell and scream and shout and all that sort of stuff, it is perfectly acceptable to operate with a little bit of loss of decorum, because this is a very special evening. These individuals who are seated up here are the product of a lot of hard work, commitment, dedication, and that's from their parents. I'll keep working on it, but seriously, and it's fun. Now, their efforts started when they first enrolled in the College of Law, and has culminated in the news that we received on the Friday before Thanksgiving, that they have successfully traveled the journey from a student at orientation to a licensed attorney in the state of California. And their efforts was supported by the efforts of a great family, and that being the faculty, administrators, and staff of the University of Verne College of Law. We are, as an institution, committed to the success of our students. That is our #1 priority. I told the students at orientation this year that our goal is 100% graduation rate and 100% first-time bar pass rate, because we are committed to their success. And these wonderful people have been the benefit of that commitment throughout their time here at University of Verne College of Law. I especially want to acknowledge the work of our Center for Academic and Bar Readiness. Our center is unique in the country because we take a proactive approach to bar support and academic support. Most law schools take and identify the students who they think are not going to do well and send them to the academic support area. We don't do that. We embed academic and bar readiness in the curriculum. We make no assumption that someone needs or doesn't need academic and bar readiness. And that approach gives our students the greatest opportunity for success. So I'd like to introduce members of that team who are here. Chandrea Williams, who you just met. Kevin Sherrill. Stephen Stewart is here. Is Stephen still here? I know he's getting on a plane to go to Hawaii. Sorry. But he's going out to do recruiting. And Allie Schultz, is Allie? There's Allie. Who's the newest member of our team. And that team is headed by Assistant Dean Jendai Sahada, who could not be here this evening because she had surgery this morning on her knees. And she thought she might be able to make it, and who knows, she might come wheeling in here in a power wheelchair at any moment. But I have my doubts about that's going to happen. But she has devised the program that we administer here and has done a great job in allowing the College of Law to be committed to the success of our students the way that we have. So we're glad that you came. As I said, this is a happy time, and we know you're going to enjoy what we have planned for you. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you, and follow my hand, the interim. It's an excerpt because he's no longer the interim. He has been appointed as the provost of the University of Laverne, Dr. Jonathan Reed.
In fact, Gail, all provosts are interim, some just know it. On behalf of the president, who cannot be here today, I send President Lieberman's greetings, and on behalf of her and the university, this is a special opportunity for me to thank those groups that have made this possible. First of all, I'd like to thank all of the staff who are committed to the students and the mission and vision of the university. I want to thank all of the faculty who work tirelessly with their expertise in pushing the students to be their very best. And finally, I want to thank all of the students who have succeeded. And your success is the university's success. We are relieved at your success, and certainly we're happy by it. The University of Laverne College of Law does some great things. It provides broad access to students and groups of students who are often excluded from higher education and from legal education. Secondly, it gives them a transformative learning experience through the faculty who are scholar teachers, and then finally enables them to have career success. And so today is an opportunity to acknowledge and celebrate your career success, the beginning of your careers in the legal institutions of the United States. And we thank you on behalf of the University of Laverne for the great things that you're going to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Holmes and Dr. Reed. We're going to now go into the rest of our program, and we're going to do the introduction of the candidates from Dean Randall Rubin, who is our Associate Dean for Academic Affairs and Professor of Law. Then we're going to do special recognitions from Professor Kevin Sherrill, who's going to speak on behalf of the Center for Academic and Bar Readiness. But prior to that, I'd like to say something that I know Dean Holmes would have wanted to say. We also have Professor Crystal Lyons, who actually was a part of the program prior to getting her new position. So Crystal, could you stand up? Because Crystal did work with these students as well. So Crystal, could you please stand up? And so now we'll have Dean Rubin and then Professor Sherrill.
Good evening. This is indeed a pleasure. It's actually the highlight of everyone here at the law school. It's what we all work for this moment. We all know, of course, that we don't want to put too much stress on our students, but we do know that the journey only starts with the final exams in their first year, and that the real exam, in fact, we like to say that what they're really getting in law school are a series of quizzes, that there's only really one exam, and that's the bar exam. And I think they would all agree at this point that that's the case. But it's indeed a highlight of me as a professor to see these students, most of whom were in my class. As I look at the list, it looks like my business organizations class. So it motivates me to ask some questions, but I know they're in no mood to answer them, so I will forego that. I will call the names of those who were able to get here this evening and successfully pass the bar. And when I call your name, if you stand and remain standing until I am done calling the names. And once again, I get one last chance at messing up names. So here we go. Alberto Avila. Sarah Buxton. Arturo Castillo. Lisa Cho. Christopher Doms. Michael Fay. Rosemary Garcia. Ryan Jones. My son. Paula Jovel. Sunny Kara. Michael Koenig. Heather Lewis. Andrea Martinez. Andrew Solera. Brandon Sanchez. And Faye Zong. You may be seated.
Hi, everybody. As Professor Williams mentioned, my name is Kevin Sherrill. I work over here at the Center for Academic and Bar Readiness, and I know all these people very well because I worked with them a lot, helping them get ready for this exam. And like Randy said, tonight really is a highlight of the year for me because we work really hard and we invest a lot personally, emotionally, time-wise, everything, helping these guys get ready for the exam. And I'm personally really proud of these guys. I'm really proud of all the work they did, how well they did in this exam, and I'm proud they're going to go out and be practicing attorneys now. So let's give them a hand for all their hard work. But it does take a little extra effort and a little extra help along the way to kind of help people make sure they know all the law, know those rules they have to know on the exam. And we'd like to recognize a few of those people tonight. Professors who kind of helped out along the way and give a little extra support to the students to help them get over that finish line and pass that exam. So I want to start with somebody who's actually on the Board of Trustees at the university, Ms. Wendy Lau, who offered a lot of financial support for these guys and was responsible for a lot of the great stacks of stuff that you guys have while you're studying for the bar exam here. So we have a special token of our appreciation for Wendy. Is she here? Sorry, couldn't get away with it. All right, then we also have a list of professors that did sort of special workshops for our students along the way. So let's say in a particular area of law, they would go over things, make sure the students understand everything they need to know, and spend a lot of extra time with the students. So we'd like to recognize some of those professors as well. And I can start with Professor Charles Doskow, who will help the students with constitutional law. Next up, Professor Susan Exon, who helped the students with civil procedure. Professor Placido Gomez, who helped the students with evidence. Thank you. Professor Diane Klein, who's actually on sabbatical this semester, so she's not here, but she did help the students with both property and wills and trusts. I know from talking to the students that she was very helpful with that too. So. Next up is Professor Kevin Marshall, who helps the students with property. Somebody we've already met, Professor Randy Rubin, who helped the students with community property and BizOrs, as he mentioned. And then finally, I'd like to thank a few people who actually made all this happen tonight, who were instrumental in organizing everything, making sure everything got set up properly. And we'll start with Miss Allie Schultz back there, our assistant who we've already met. Also, Evelyn Deanda, I don't know if Evelyn's here, But both Evelyn and Heather King also helped tonight as well, so we can. All right, so I'll get out of the way and actually let you guys get sworn in now.
We are very privileged this evening to have two members of the judiciary to swear in our recent bar exam passers. We are honored to have with us Justice Douglas Miller and Judge David Bristow. And I'm going to do a little introduction of them in terms of who they are and what they've done. But before I introduce them individually, I just want to acknowledge the fact that they have come repeatedly to participate in this ceremony to swear in our graduates. And they do this, at least in my view, for two reasons. One, because they really love the University of Verne College of Law. And two, because they don't have an audience like this in which to tell their stories that are always so receptive to what they have to say. Douglas P. Miller is an Associate Justice for the 4th District Court of Appeals in the state of California. He's a graduate of Pepperdine University School of Law and Brigham Young University. He's been admitted to the bar since 1978. He practiced law in the office of Thomas T. Anderson from 1978 to 1995, and then was a judge in Riverside County from 1995 to the present. He has served on numerous commissions throughout the state involving the judiciary. The list is extremely long, and I will not name them all, but I will mention that he is on the Commission on Access to Justice from 2008 up until the present, and the Commission on Impartial Courts Task Force on Judicial Candidate Campaign Conduct, where he serves as the chair. He's been there since September of 2007. Justice Miller.
So I have been doing this for a long time, and it's a privilege because I loved being a lawyer. Now, I've been a judge now for almost 20 years, but I fondly remember my time as a lawyer. And I think by saying that I've been doing this a long time and I get the opportunity to tell my stories, it may mean that my stories are getting old. But my stories really aren't for the faculty and for those who have heard them over these years. My stories are really for those who haven't heard them, and those are the new lawyers that I'm going to swear in tonight. And it is my opportunity in some sense to give them a little of my thoughts about the profession and what it means to be a lawyer and what it means to graduate from law school. But before I say that, I do want to say that when I was first asked to do this many years ago, I don't think they expected me to make any comments. But you have to understand, and this is a lesson for the lawyers, that judges like to talk, and when they have the opportunity from the bench or wherever it is, they're going to take it and they're going to speak. So even though I think they originally envisioned this, that I was just going to stand up and Judge Bristow was just going to stand up and swear them in, it's kind of evolved into this aspect of where we get the opportunity to say a few things. And the first lesson I want to give to the new lawyers is when you walk into court that very first time and the judge sits on the bench and says hello, you need to say hello back. It's not a Baptist tradition. It makes the judges feel loved. So don't forget that, because they're looking and they're watching. The first thing I want to do is I want the graduates to stand up again, because I want each of you to stand up. We're not going to swear you in right now. I'm going to ask you to sit down. Judges get that opportunity too. I want you to give a round of applause to your parents. You're going to find out, and it doesn't matter what profession you're in, but you're now lawyers, that you don't get there all by yourself. There are many, many people who have supported you, who have worked with you, who have provided the opportunity for you to be here today where you are. So you owe them a great round of applause. So tell them thank you. Or you can say thank you. Like I said, I'm proud to have been a lawyer, and I am proud to have been someone who served in the judiciary now for almost 20 years. And
and I am proud of the opportunity that I had myself to be a lawyer. So the first thing I'd like to leave with you is that you're not here by yourself. Yes, your parents supported you, your partners, and other things of that nature, but it's the profession itself and the lawyers that you in some sense stand on their shoulders, who have been lawyers for many, many years, who have provided you the opportunity to now go into court, who've now provided you the opportunity to serve clients. So never forget that this is an honorable profession and that you should be proud to be a part of it. We all hear the lawyers' jokes. You've all heard them. I hear them. Sometimes they're funny. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes I think they're mean-spirited. But remember that you need to be proud of what you've accomplished, because you have accomplished something significant. You've gone through law school. You've taken the bar exam. And now you're given the opportunity to represent other people. In other words, to speak for people who in some sense may not be able to speak for themselves. I think that's probably the greatest honor there is, because you're really in the service of other people. Yes, some of those people you're going to serve are going to pay you, some of them are going to pay you handsomely, but you're their spokesperson. You get the privilege to speak on their behalf, and never, ever forget it. Yes, people are going to ask you, how many times did you win, and did you win your last case? But what's really important is that you gave your best when you went into court, or when you did whatever legal work you're going to do to represent that person who put their faith in you. And your training here at this school, which is a great school with great professors, has provided you the skills to be able to do that. The second thing starts with a story. Everyone else has heard the story, doesn't need to listen. But it's something that happened to me that ingrained in my mind, again, the honor of what we do. So it goes back many years now, probably about 17, 18 years. I love to play tennis, and I play as often as I can. And there's a club that we play at where it has a sunken court. And the nice thing about this sunken court is that the reason we want to play in that court is because when you hit the ball, it makes it sound like, now I'm going to show how old I am, you know, it's like Jimmy Connors, or Bjorn Borg, or Andre Agassi hitting the ball. Clearly I'm not hitting that hard, but it just sounds really good. The other uniqueness about this is that it's at a country club where it's set in the setting of a hotel complex. And so people from the hotel, can walk on the ends of the courts, and they can stand up above the ground level where you are, because it's a sunken court by about 10 or 15 feet. And they can stand in the background and they can watch you play tennis. Not many people come to watch me play tennis, but every once in a while, you know, someone may pass by. This one Saturday morning, playing doubles with the group that I play with on a pretty regular basis, I'm receiving a serve. The serve is hit to me, I make a nice return, the person hits it back, and I happen to be standing right near the baseline where the ball would be in or out. And as I look down, I see, you know what, this is so close to the line, so I'm just gonna take a chance and not return or even try to hit the ball, because I think it's gonna be out. But guess what? It was in by just a fraction. I mean, it was very clear to me it was in by just a fraction. The two players on the other side of the court, they wouldn't have been able to tell whether it was in or out. But I saw that it was in, and I said, nice shot. One of the players on the other side says, thanks for the call. And then I hear someone behind me say something. And I turn around and I look, and there happens to be behind me, not very far from where I am, someone who clearly could see what the call was and whether the ball was in or out. And this person says, what would you expect from a judge? Now, I clearly could have called the ball out. It was that close. But if I had called the ball out, the person behind me, who was the pro, would have seen that the ball was really in. And he didn't say, nice call, Doug. You know, nice call, tennis player. He said, what would you expect from a judge? Now, can you imagine what would have happened if I had called the ball out? What would have he thought? I wonder if as a lawyer, did he kind of call him that way too? What about as a judge? You know, is he going to call him, you know, not really based on what the law or the facts are? He's going to maybe let his biases slip in there, or he's got a friend in court, and he's going to try to help him out. And I'm not saying I'm some magnanimous person. I was playing with my friends, we all called him close like that. But it always stuck in my mind. What other people think of you is what they observe. And as a lawyer, yes, you want to be zealous. Yes, you want to represent your client the best you can. Yes, you want to make money. But you never, ever want to forget the training here at this school, the ethical obligations you have, and what people think of you. You know, wherever you go, people are going to identify you as a lawyer, whether it's at a party or at the market or with friends. They're going to look to you because you now have this imprinter of wisdom from being a lawyer. And don't ever, ever let them see you call the ball out when he's in, because they'll reflect on what kind of person that person is as a lawyer. So the last thing I want to tell you is, you know, for the next couple of years, you're going to be focused on trying to learn a new profession, represent clients, get a footing so that you can, you know, succeed in the business. And do that. Work hard. Work as many hours a week as you can in that regard. Because there's going to become a time then when you're going to need to give back. You're going to need to give back to your profession. You're going to need to give back to the community. Your dean spoke at testified actually at a hearing for a task force that I sit on that deals with legal services. And one of the issues that we were talking about is the extreme debt that new lawyers have after they go through law school. It prevents them from being able to provide pro bono services or legal services to the poor, because a significant part of our population can't afford a lawyer, but they still have issues. They still have legal rights. They still have cases that they need to file in court, but they can't get a lawyer because they can't afford one. And in some sense, the information that we learned from your dean explained to us why the changes that are being made here will somehow in the future, sometime in the future, allow new lawyers to provide that service because they won't be so burdened with debt. But when you get to that point, remember to give back to the community. Do pro bono service. Volunteer at clinics. Pay legal, there's a box that you can mark on your bar bill that allows you to contribute money directly to the legal services community here in California. 100% of that money goes. So please, please, make sure that you give back to the community. It reflects on, again, I think the great and exemplary training that you received here. Okay, so are you ready? I remember the day I was sworn in. I remember taking the bar. And as I think Judge Bristow will tell you, that we still have nightmares about that time. I don't want to go back and see what my score was, because I'm always afraid it would say I didn't pass and they'd take away my bar license. All right, so please stand and I'm going to swear you in to the California bar. And while you're doing that, I want you to listen to the oath, because the oath changed. This isn't the oath that Judge Bristow and I took a number of years ago as new lawyers in California. It changed in June of this year. And please listen to it, because it's important, because it talks about how you should conduct yourselves as lawyers. All right, if I can get you to raise your right hand. I, please state your name. Solemnly swear or affirm. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of California. And that I will faithfully discharge. The duties of an attorney. And counselor at law. To the best of my knowledge and ability. This is where it changed. As an officer of the court. I will strive to conduct myself. At all times. With dignity. Courtesy. And integrity. Congratulations.
You guys can take a seat. one of the great things that we do here is we also provide an opportunity for our newly minted attorneys to be sworn in before the District Court of Central District Court of Central Federal District Court of California. And for that event, we've invited Magistrate David T. Bristow to perform the ceremony. Judge Bristow was a practicing attorney before he became a judge. He was a shareholder and president of the executive committee of the civil firm of Reed and Hyler, and his practice includes the areas of contract law, corporate and law, and employment law. And prior to private practice, he was a deputy public defender in San Bernardino County. He's a graduate of California State University, San Bernardino, and his law degree is from the University of Pacific McGeorge School of Law. Judge Bristow.
I was also, just to be fair, a district attorney in San Bernardino County. And like many of you may find, I had just about every kind of legal job you can have. And some people think that's a bad thing, but I think it's a good thing, because what else am I going to think? But my point is never give up. If you have a goal and you want to do something, then figure out a way to do it. And I say that as somebody who didn't go to a top tier law school. So oftentimes I was not provided an opportunity to get a position where perhaps I wanted a position simply because I lacked credentials that the hiring people wanted. And you may confront that. It doesn't matter. What matters now is that you are licensed to practice law in the state of California. And to get that license, it doesn't matter where you went to law school. On your admission to the bar in the state of California, there's not a place to say where you went to law school. So the guy who graduated from Yale is going to be sitting right next to you in court. And it's going to be held to the exact same standard to which you were held. So it doesn't matter where you went to law school, it doesn't matter where you went to undergrad. What matters is that you have passed the bar of the state of California, which is the hardest bar exam in the United States. And that is an achievement that I think most people don't appreciate. And so I just want to take the opportunity to commend all of you again on a fantastic achievement, and to allow those who love you to give you another round of applause. As Justice Miller alluded to, I have the same shtick that I do every year, because it's a shtick that comes from my heart. And part of that shtick is I still have nightmares that I have to take the bar exam. It is that wedded to my psyche that I wake up in a cold sweat and think, oh my God, I'm so glad that was a nightmare, because I do not want to ever have to take the bar exam. I never tire of hearing that story from Justice Miller. And I hope if you don't remember anything else from tonight, you will remember Justice Miller's story. And because of that, I'll get into why it's so important, but I want to talk about Justice Miller because he exemplifies what I hope all of you will do, which is stay in the Inland Empire and practice law. I was born in Riverside. I went to school at Cal State San Bernardino. I worked for the Sun newspaper while I was in college and then after college. I've lived in the Inland Empire my entire life. It's where I practiced law. It's where I learned how to be a lawyer. And I learned how to be a lawyer with lawyers like Justice Miller, although Justice Miller was a judge by the time I started practicing law. Just sort of, there was probably like 15 minutes where we were both lawyers. But there is no better lawyer and no better judge in this state than Justice Miller. And he personifies a long history of lawyers and judicial officers from the Inland Empire who are exceptional. He will never tell you this because his humility is part of his great character. But it is true. He is a central component of the judicial administration in this state. He is one of the right-hand persons of the Chief Justice of the California Supreme Court for purposes of court administration. And he is those things because he's really smart and really astute and really good at what he does. But he is, more than anything, an exceptional human being. And I think his story exemplifies that. It is such a pleasure to learn how to be a lawyer in the Inland Empire because it is a small legal community. As the provost said, this institution is important because it's the only certified law school in the Inland Empire. So you have that imprimatur of coming from the University of Laverne College of Law. You're it. There's nobody else from a licensed law school, certified by the ABA, in the Inland Empire. And that's important. The Inland Empire has needs that have to be met. Lawyers in this nation play such a critical role, and that gets lost on our society. You will hear again and again that we are a nation of laws, which is absolutely true. What people forget is that in order to have a nation of laws, you have to have lawyers. We must have a professional cadre of trained lawyers to help all of the citizens, the non-citizens, the corporations, the entities in this nation enforce their legal rights and enforce their legal obligations. It is impossible to do without a lawyer, irrespective of what anybody will tell you. In our system, when you have litigants who have a lawyer and litigants who don't have a lawyer, everybody in this room knows what the likely outcome of that litigation is. The person without the lawyer is going to lose. And as Justice Miller said, practicing law, being able to assist your client with their legal needs is the most gratifying experience I've ever had. It is impossible to describe the feeling you will have when you help your clients with their problem, whatever that problem is. And as you will find, oftentimes, the greatest help you can give them is to provide them with the softest loss that you can. Because you don't control the facts, and you don't control the law, and sometimes your clients don't have the facts or the law on their side. And that's your job, to be able to tell them that, and then to come up with the best resolution in light of those facts. And that's hard. It's harder to do that than it is to win 100% across the board. But never forget that that role carries with it great responsibility. And that's why I want you to never forget Justice Miller's story, because that is such a perfect example of what people are going to be looking to you for. Because really all you have is a license to practice law and your reputation. That's it. And today, right now, your reputation is spotless. Because no, you don't have a reputation as a lawyer. Never forget how hard it has been for you to get here. Never forget the investment in time and energy and emotion and money for you to be here tonight to be sworn into practice. Because all it takes is one instance of you violating your ethical obligations, if it's sufficient to lose your right to practice law. It only takes one. But it only takes an instant for you to lose your reputation. That sterling reputation that all of you now have, all it takes is one instance of you saying the ball was out when it was really in, and you will be branded a liar. And that is the worst thing for any lawyer's reputation. That's why we have lawyer jokes. People make fun of lawyers, and you just have to develop a callus and realize that people are going to make fun about you. But the reason people make fun about lawyers is because of the important role you play in our society. I mean, you are now officers of the court. Our courts are a branch of our government. You are officers of our government. You're not employees of the government. But our courts can't function without lawyers. That's why it's so important for the judges to hold you to that high level of ethical conduct. So never lie. Never lie to a judge. Even about something as innocuous as being late, because you will be late to court. I guarantee you, you will be late. Because sometimes judges are going to order you to be in at the same exact time, they will order you to be in two different places. A judge in Riverside County is going to order you to be in court in Riverside, and a judge in San Bernardino County is going to order you to be in San Bernardino. And you have to decide, which judge am I going to piss off? Because you will. One of them will be upset. Pardon my French. But that's your job. You have to figure out how you do that. Because if you lie to that judge and you say, oh, I'm sorry, judge, there was traffic and there was an accident on the freeway, you don't know whether that judge was behind you the whole way. Just like the guy who was standing above Justice Miller and saw that ball. That's the problem with the lie. It's when you get caught. So don't ever take that risk. It's not worth it. Never forget how important your role is to the courts and to our society. And now, here's my first example of why you are so important. And that is because lawyers solve problems. Your clients come to you because they have a problem. And it's your job to solve that problem to the client's best options. And it also goes to your ethics, because this thing really didn't exist when I was sworn in. I was sworn in by a guy named Victor Maselli, Judge Maselli, who was one of my heroes. I have half a dozen of heroes like that. Judges who played such a central role in my development as a lawyer, who would take new lawyers under their wing because they cared about the practice of law. You will find people like that. Not all your colleagues, but many of your colleagues will want to assist you as you grow to be lawyers. And take them up on it. Go to court, sit in the back and watch the lawyers and find out which ones are good and which ones are not so good. And the ones that are good, be brave and go up to them and introduce yourself and tell them that you just passed the bar. Could you please take them for a cup of coffee just to ask them questions about practicing law? I'm virtually certain that once they recover from their shock, they would be delighted to do that. And that's part of the culture in the Inland Empire, that it is a small legal community that really values the practice of law and the people who practice the law. But the reason this is important is that all of you now have one of these, and it's an integral part of your lives. It's important that you understand and realize when that is part of your life, when it's appropriate, and when it's not. Be very, very careful about using this in court. Always make sure that this is turned off when you go into court. Because there's nothing quite as humiliating as being in court, having your phone go off, having the judge stop everything, and having everybody turn and look at you while your face turns red and you shut it off, and then the judge yells at you. And it's not even your turn up to the plate yet. So make sure that never happens. Always develop the habit when you're going to walk into the courthouse, turn it on silent. If you don't turn it off entirely, that's probably the safest move. Just turn it off. But have it handy, because you may forget something that you need in court, like I did tonight. My oath that I'm supposed to administer. I had to take my kids to the dentist, so I had to leave early, and I wanted to make sure I got here. And so, in all the hustle and bustle, I forgot the oath. So I was sitting there with Justice Miller, and I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I know what I'll do. I'll find it online, which I did. Which you will have to do innumerable times. Develop those skills. But right now, revel in your achievement. I'm so thrilled for you guys. I'll never forget what it was like to pass the bar. I'll never forget what it was like to practice law. Justice Miller is spot on. It is the most gratifying endeavor I think anyone can ever engage in. And so I commend all of you. And now, to be sworn in to practice law in the United States Central District of California. Remember, there's 4 districts in California. You will be admitted to practice in the Central District of California. If you want to practice in the Southern District, or the Northern District, or the Eastern District, you have to get admitted to any of those other 3. But as long as you're going to be in the Inland Empire, you only need to worry about the Central District. So please stand and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States, and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the government of the United States, that I will maintain the respect due to the courts of justice and judicial officers, do a do-over on that one. That I will maintain the respect due to the courts of justice and judicial officers, and that I will demean myself as an attorney, proctor, advocate, solicitor, and counselor of the court uprightly, according to the law, so help me God. Congratulations.
You guys can sit down. Thank you. So, as I mentioned earlier, Justice Miller and Judge Bristow have been coming to us and participating in our ceremony for a number of years. And so I want to take a time for a special acknowledgement of them and thank them. And I believe down here, oh, there's a gift. It actually has their names on it. So, Judge Bristow. And Judge Miller. So now we have a special ceremony called Passing the Torch. And I turn it over to the members of Cabra.
So one of the traditions we have here at the University of Laverne is what we call a passing of the torch ceremony. So the torch itself represents all the hard work and dedication and the crying and the tears and all that stuff that went on to get these guys to pass the bar exam. And the torch signifies passing that on to the next group because they get to enjoy all the same things coming up. So that's what this ceremony is all about. There's actually going to be an open flame, so don't be scared. Practice this, nobody's going to burn. We hope not. But we're going to do that with a couple of our actual new lawyers here. and with a couple of students that are coming up and getting ready to take the bar exam in February. So for our newly admitted lawyers, we have Michael Fay, Fei Zong, and for our future lawyers, we have Ms. Christina Stevenson, and Brett Strauss.
Okay, as Dean of the Law School, there are three major things, actually four major things that I do. I give opening remarks, I promote the law school, I ask for money, and I give closing remarks. So the choice now is, since I've already given opening remarks and promoted the law school, I can either ask you for money or give closing remarks. How many vote for asking for money? I'm surprised the vice president for advancement hasn't raised her hand. Oh, you did? And how many vote for closing remarks? Okay. We do have some people that I want to introduce here this evening. First of all, sitting on the back row are members of the faculty and staff of the College of Law, so I'd ask them to please stand and be recognized. We also have with us this evening the former interim dean of the College of Law, Phil Hawkey. We have a member of our Board of Visitors, Tom Kendall. In addition, we have the Vice President for Advancement, Myra Garcia. And then we have, I haven't forgotten, we have the University Director for Alumni Relations, Monica Moore. And I just want to say this, you guys are alums, and we do expect you to participate as alums in the activities and support of the College of Law. I won't ask you for money right now, but know that I'm coming. Did I leave anybody out that I should recognize? I take nudging well. I've been married for 35 years, so. Okay. So thank you all for coming this evening. It's been a great time. It's been a great turnout. You guys look great from up here, let me tell you. We have refreshments downstairs. No, I'm sorry, we have refreshments upstairs. Downstairs. I get information, but I always mess up. So refreshments downstairs. I could make a joke and say things like, eat fast, we have students in the building. But we'll hold them at bay. And it's an opportunity for us to get to know one another. If you have time, we have an art exhibit in our art gallery on this side. If you want to take a few moments to walk through the art exhibit, it's quite interesting and enjoyable. Artwork from the Hopi Indian Nation. So I recommend that you take time to do that. And if this is and your first time in the College of Law, please do not make it your last time in the College of Law. And if you've been here numerous times, please come back again, because you are all welcome. You're all part of our family, and we really appreciate everything that you've done to support our students and to support our institution. Even that. So with that, we are done. Thank you.